In this video, I want to show you another back exercise where we're rotating the back, giving it some torque and spin and flexibility in twisting of the spine. You know, the vertebrae is pretty amazing because it not only goes twisting that way and that way, it also has a side bending pattern this way, and it also moves forward and backward. So there's a lot of movement in the spine, so it's important to keep all of those directions somewhat flexible so that we don't have injury. Sometimes when the back is a little tight, then we can injure ourselves in other places. So I'm going to show you an exercise to work the back in a twisting manner. I want you to also understand that my training comes largely out of dance protocol. So a lot of these exercises I kind of have made up over time, but I'm sure that there's a lot of other people that do these kind of things because in reality there's only so much you can do with the body. They're called different things, but they're really about the same kind of things. So this one is where you're going to lay down, which I did, and then you're going to bend your legs and then rotate your hips so that you're flat into the floor. Let everything relax. That's really important. Let the shoulders relax, kind of tuck them under, pull that head long, and get real comfortable there. Let everything relax. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take one leg and cross it over to the other side. Now you may want to put your other arm a little farther out, but keep the shoulder on the floor and just kind of use your arms to balance as you go in this direction. But then what you're going to do is tuck yourself in as much as you can. If you're out here, that's okay, but tuck yourself in, not uncomfortably so, and then just begin to slowly drop to the side. You're going to start to feel a stretch coming up the hip this way into the back. And so you just want to, now you don't want your shoulder to come off the floor, so just stop when your shoulder is coming off the floor and you hold it down. And then when you go as far as it's comfortable, then I want you to take your head and turn it in the other direction. Now there's a very interesting part to this exercise that I want to show you, but your head is the other direction, and then your eyes are going to be going up to the ceiling. So your eyes are like going in the same direction as your legs. And you're just going to lay there and then just let yourself sink more and more into that stretch. Just lay there and let it slowly just sink into that stretch. And then when you're there for a little while, then let your head come back, your eyes come back, and then let the legs come back up. Feel your back flattening into the floor. Feel that you're all relaxed. There's not any tension in your shoulders. My head got a little off there. And then you unwind that leg and cross the other leg. And then drop yourself down first with the legs. Just slowly, very slowly, so that the brain can pick it up. Keeping that shoulder on the floor. After a while, it kind of feels more natural just to let the head drop at the same time. Over to the side. Keep that stretch going. You're going to feel a nice stretch across the hip and up into the low back. Your head is going. And then once you get over, then take your eyes and move your eyes towards the ceiling. And then begin to just let everything sink really slowly. Just let it sink. This changes a lot of patterning. I've read that the eyes moving it with movement changes a lot of patterning. And then when you feel comfortable with that, then just bring it slowly back up. You'll feel your stomach muscles needing to work to hold it up. And then you can just uncross that leg. And you're going to get up the same way that you did, very similar when I showed you the wedge. Just roll to the side, bring yourself in, and it's just like moving where the body wants to move, and bring yourself up, And there you are. And breathe with it, and then kind of shake out a little bit by just moving. And moving, you might feel a little stiff when you first do this, especially if you don't do it very often. And then there you go. So that's another one to twist the spine, which is very helpful. So you have now, I've showed you the upper back, the lower back, and now twisting the spine. So just enjoy, practice them every day if you have time, practice them often, and you'll notice some really big changes happening. It helps with the organ positioning and everything, so have fun. Okay, so if your back is a little stiff after you do those two exercises, which more than likely it will be, particularly if you're a little bit older, because you have a little bit of, your back has been worked a little more, there might be a little inflammation in there. It does get stiff from being in a position that it's not used to. It gets better as time goes on. But because you've been working your back to lengthen it and to do twisting with it and to open up that sacrum with the wedge and then also with the twisting, a good thing to do is it's a stretch for the back, and I know there's many names for it. It's kind of like the child's pose in yoga, where you just want to get on your knees the best you can. Now, if you have trouble getting back, you can put something behind you to rest on, like a pillow or something, but just go down as far as you can. And it's okay to open your legs up a little bit so you can get yourself down and pull your arms out. And then just really slowly, you want to lengthen that back, go to do the up and back thing with your neck and head, and then just really slowly bring yourself down and feel it from, like you're letting one vertebrae at a time, starting in the low back, drop down. So just think of one vertebrae at a time, dropping it down, letting your elbows slowly come down. And then as you feel that stretch, wherever you go, you might not be able to get your elbows all the way down. That's okay. It's not about getting far. It's about doing it properly and developing it properly. Then when you're in that position, then you just drop one more vertebrae at a time, going up into the thorax, and continue to just drop forward until your head will come down. Go very, very slow, one vertebrae at a time. Bring the head down, and then just feel a stretch with your back. Now, at this point, imagine that you have somebody that's pulling your stomach, or pushing from the inside, like a big ball or something is under you, and arch your back up and push in the low back. So you're pushing here to push, so this comes out, and you're kind of going to push out on it and curl yourself a little more. And then straighten it back out one vertebrae at a time and slowly come up. And then you can kind of wiggle it around back and forth. If you have trouble getting on your knees, like I say, just prop yourself up and go down as much as you can. You can go on your hands and knees and kind of do the same thing. This is like the cat thing in yoga. But, exercises are exercises. There's only so much. You can do an arch and a rounding, just moving it and then kind of swaying it back and forth to get that side bending going. And that will keep your back, your lower back, your upper back in a lot better position so you can be flexible. So after you do the work to really open up the spine, then give the muscles a chance to find a new position as well, because it's going to affect a lot of muscles in the body. So enjoy, have fun, be careful, and just go slow at it and be intentional when you do it. Now, if the floor part for stretching the back is a little bit too much, because your legs are all scrunched underneath you and everything, and that is an uncomfortable position, particularly when you start getting up in my age group. But so you can do this from standing as well. You can stretch the back out in a standing position. Not many of you probably have a bar, but you can use a countertop because that's about the same height, or maybe the back of a chair if it's solid. You just want to be sure that whatever you're leaning into is going to be sturdy. Countertops work really good. I used to have to use a countertop because I didn't have enough room to have my bar up, so I would do that. So the way that you would do that is you just want to line yourself up with the bar, where you're square with the bar, meaning you're facing completely. Then you get your positioning up and back with your head and neck, and you drop the shoulders and you get comfortable reaching your hands out. Now the bar is here, or the countertop is here, primarily just to partly to stretch your arms, but primarily to hold you so that you're balanced with this. And then you want to just start to bend down with the straight back into this position. You're going to have to keep backing up, and then you can spread your arms out, but you want to keep the back nice and flat when you're going down. You're going to feel a tremendous stretch going in the backs of the legs, which is really good as well. Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit more so my arms don't have to go out. So you go down as far as you can, and you want to do this slowly. I'm doing it a little quickly. Then check the head, make sure it's up and back. And then from here you can round up the back and then flatten the back. And you want to take the rounding as if you have something pushing you here. It's actually pushing up and then coming down. When you start to think about how you're moving a little differently, it's like all of a sudden you've got a ball underneath you, and that ball is rounding your back. If you think of an image, it's going to change the way that your body moves. So imagine you have a big ball and somebody's pushing it up, or a big bubble that's pushing you up, and you're just rounding with that bubble, and then you're flattening back down. Now that's a really good thing to do. And then you can take yourself a little bit deeper if you like with the flatter back, but make sure that you keep that head long. And then if you're really into doing it, you can drop a little further down and just let yourself come up with a long back without help, and that you're holding with the abdomen to come back up. And that's because there's two ways to bend forward. There's bending forward from the hip, and there's bending forward from the waist. So it's best, you want to develop getting your back long by bending at the hip. And then when you go so far, about 90 degrees, then you have to be able to bend from the back. So we're going to strengthen the back, the abdomen, by lifting up from the hip. But there's two ways to do it. I can get into that later if you're interested. There's a lot of little easy things you can do, and I'd be happy to show you all that. But just for these exercises, give them a try, see how they work, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. And I think there's a little bell up there that you can hit that you'll get a notification every time we post. So if you want to, you can hit that too. But thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it.